Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Darian, aka Darian on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and comment down below what you think about this video. So if my energy is a little off, that's just kind of whipping my ass right now. Yeah, there's a lot of health problems going on in my family, so I'm just not like the brightest. But we are back with another story time. This story time is going to be about part 2 of why I ended my trip early in Italy. So without further ado, let's just get into it. I just want to make it clear before I start this part of the video that the biggest factor of me leaving was because of all the shit that happened in Florence with the guys just kind of being really creepy. It turned me off in a way that made me just feel really uneasy and really unsafe there. Even though it was just like one day of fuckery, it was one day too many for me, especially after my trip when I went to Japan. There wasn't a bad day. The worst thing that would happen was the rain, but everything else was good outside of that. But the shit going on in Italy, that actual day, there was not a time where I felt unsafe when I was in Japan. And so to go to Italy and feel unsafe around all of these men and not knowing when the next person was gonna come around and make me feel uncomfortable, it just really soured my mood when it came to the trip and made me start thinking about wanting to go home, not really being so happy there as I would have liked to have been. So fast forward, after I left Florence, I went to Rome. And like I told y'all in the last video, I worked the whole first day that I was in Rome. I was just cooped up in my hotel room. I got some pasta delivered to my hotel room along with some wine, and thankfully the concierge at that hotel had a wine opener, had a bottle opener, and so I was able to open my wine, and I was just in my room getting wine drunk, doing the work on my fucking PTO day. So, and yes, I will be claiming that PTO day later on. My manager is already aware of that. But because of that, I feel like that kind of slowed me down along with the shit that happened in Florence. And so I just kind of started taking it easier the rest of my trip, which sucks because I was taking it easier in Rome. You would want to take it easier in Milan, where with Milan I was going out every single day, stepping out every single day, waking up at the crack of dawn, literally waking up at 5:30 in the morning every morning, and going out at 7, maybe 8 in the morning. So to go from that to not leaving my hotel room until maybe 11 in the morning was kind of a huge contrast. But and then also, like I said, my period has started and I was catching a cold because nobody covers their mouths there. So it was a whole lot of, but the day after I had to log on for work and do all of that work and everything, Halloween came. And I was not going to miss the opportunity to go fucking clubbing on Halloween in Rome. Are you dumb? Are you dumb? You gotta be dumb if you think I'm gonna miss out on that. So I decided that I was going to be a leopard for Halloween. I had this really cute leopard print dress. I will put my whole look on the screen here, but I had this cute leopard print dress that I had bought from, I think, Princess Polly. That's where I bought it from. I bought it from Princess Polly, and so I wanted to do a whole leopard look to go with it and everything. So I did just that. Earlier that day, I had went and visited the Vatican. I toured the Vatican, went and saw the Sistine Chapel. Got me a few clips of the Sistine Chapel, not gonna lie, not gonna, yeah, I did. Got me a few clips and everything, and just toured, after I got out of the Sistine Chapel, after I got out of the Vatican, I went and walked and went and saw St. Peter's Basilica. I didn't go inside because the line was super long, and yeah, I just didn't want to spend even more time waiting in a line. And I just toured more of Rome, and then after that I went back to my hotel room to get ready for Halloween. I think I got back to my room at maybe 4. I told myself that I would get back at 4:30 so that I could do my makeup and then go get me something to eat and then go bar hopping or whatever in Rome before, or around 10ish. So that was my idea, right? I get ready get all dressed up as a leopard. And I was on TikTok trying to see like, oh, where can I go for Halloween in Rome? Like, you know, obviously I don't fucking know any of these places. So I'm looking them up. I'm looking up other places around and everything. And I see this one bar, and it is a Japanese bar, I'm guessing. And so I was like, okay, you know, I'll go there because it said like it had like a Halloween party theme or something like that. So I was like, okay, I'll go there. So I catch an Uber, a godforsaken Uber, and I go to this bar. And this bar is like truly a bar. They have some food, which is what I was trying to like kind of bank on. I wanted some food. And so I ended up getting like a bunch of nigiri slices, which is like sushi, but without the rice. So I ate a bunch of that, and that was like, you know, it did what it needed to do. I wasn't like stuffed, but at the same time, when you're going for a night out of drinking, you don't want to be super stuffed, or at least I don't, because then like having an empty stomach, I'm gonna throw up, but having like a super full stomach, I'm gonna feel like I have to throw up. I want to be like right in the middle, right? So I got me a drink. When I got in there, there were some other people like fully dressed up in costume. There, like the whole bar was decorated and everything, and it was just really nice. I'm so mad. The issue with me is that when I go out for a night of drinking, I don't pull my phone out much. So like this summer, I have a few pictures of me like outside of a club or like something like that, but for the most part, that's why like my Rome vlog is good, but like I don't have any clips from this night. I have clips of me going to the Vatican and like in the Sistine Chapel and everything, but then when it was time for me to go to go out for Halloween, girl, no pictures in sight, no pictures, no videos, no nothing in sight. So I like got food from there, and then I asked them like, where's their restroom? They told me. I went and could not find it, and I was like, okay, fuck. So, but like I was just, it was off principle. I'm somebody that like pees off principle. Like when I feel like I'm probably gonna have to pee later, I'll pee now, but that doesn't mean that I necessarily have to. So I ended up not peeing. I went to the bar next door. It was like a Mexican restaurant, I guess, and there they had like they were decorated and everything. I got me a drink. I think I got me like a paloma or something like that. So I got me a paloma, drank that, and then like I actually had to pee at that point. So I was like, where's your restroom? So they told me, once again, not where they told me it was supposed to be. And I feel like I passed it up, but at the same time, I don't know if it was like a unisex bathroom, but all I saw were men in that bathroom, and I was like, I'm not supposed to be in there. I'm not supposed to be in there. Where's the ladies' room? Ooh, I'm not supposed to be up in there. So I'm like, okay, well, fuck. Like now I have to really fucking pee. So I go back to the bar that I just left, like the Japanese inspired restaurant or whatever, and I'm trying to like look for the restroom, could not find it. I'm like, fuck, I really have to pee. Like it's bad. It's bad. And like one thing about Italy is that they are not good when it comes to toilets. I remember at one point when I was in Milan, I had to like, it was damn near midnight and their train stopped running around that time. And so I'm pretty sure I was on like one of the very last trains to get to the station by my hotel. And I had to hop off because I had to pee. Tell me about I get to the bathroom and they're requiring money to get into the toilet. To pee? I have to pay money to pee? And like that happened in so many train stations. I like would have to pee and then they'd be like, okay, well, like you need to pay. And I'd be like, I have to pay to piss? Are you crazy? Like, so you be all right with me just pulling my pants down right here in the middle of this fucking street and peeing, right? Let me do that then. And that's exactly what I did in Milan. I had to go off to like a corner. Thankfully, it was like construction over by that way. I went off to a corner. I peed, girl. I could not hold it. If I didn't pee there, I was going to pee on myself on the train. Like, it was bad. But anyway, so I'm in Rome searching through like this little like between these two bars because that's the only, I was told that there was like supposed to be a big old strip of bars. I only saw 2 bars in this area. So I'm like, ugh, fuck. And neither one of them have a bathroom where they say they're supposed to have the bathroom. So I start walking and I see other people coming from, so like, let's say this is how the street was, right? So on this street was the 2 bars that I was looking at. I started seeing people come from this street. So I walk down that street and I see just a fuck ton of bars, a slew of bars. And I was like, oh, okay. I thought I was like literally in the middle of fucking nowhere, right? So I walk up to like one of the hosts that's standing outside of one of the bars, and he was like, "What you looking for? What you looking for? Like, what type of drinks do you like? Da 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 da. We got all types of drinks." And I looked at him. I said, "I'm gonna keep it a buck with you." He was like, "What's up?" And like, this is an Italian man, mind you. I was like, "I'm gonna keep it a buck with you." He was like, "What's up?" And I said, "If I buy me a drink, can I pee in here?" And he just started like laughing. He was like, "Yes, you can." And I was like, "All right, bro, show me the bathroom and I'll buy me a drink." And he was like, "Okay." So he led me to the bathroom or whatever, and I went and used it, and then I got me a drink. And their drinks are huge at that bar. Once again, I gotta let y'all know, I don't know any of these places. Don't ask me, don't know. But this bar, their margaritas were literally this fucking big. And this is the small. This fucking big for a small. I think their largest were like this big. No bullshit. And it was like this, like, it wasn't just like this long. It was this wide. Like, it was like one of those like, one of those buckets that you see in elementary school classes with like, where they just put the pencils and shit in there. That's what it was. And I was like, holy shit. I did not like, why didn't you warn me? Oh my God. And I'm like, I can't finish this. Like, what the hell? Especially after I already had 2 drinks at like the other 2 bars, right? So I'm sitting there, I'm drinking it, and I'm just like, damn, this was a bust. Like, I thought I was gonna have fun on Halloween night, but like all these places that are advertising as clubs are not clubs, because the first bar that I went to was supposed to be a club. It was supposed to be like a Halloween party thrown at a club. But that was not a club. That was a fucking restaurant slash bar with a big ass dance floor next to it. Like, so I'm just sitting there, I'm drinking, I'm like, damn, Halloween was a bust. And like, I see everybody else coming in and they're like all happy and shit. And I'm like, it's probably because I'm by myself, like, fuck. So I'm just like, drinking my drink, and then I have to use the restroom again. And by that point, I had already accepted that I was not going to finish that margarita. Like, it was entirely too fucking big for me to finish on my own and then still try and go out afterwards. Not like because I'd be too drunk, but because like it would have taken me entirely too long to finish it, and I had other places that I was trying to go. So like, I wanted to at least explore, right? So I like finish drinking however much I want to drink, and I'm like, I'm gonna go pee again. And I go into the bathroom, and it's like this Italian girl and this woman, I'm guessing her mom, right? And I don't know what the girl is saying to me in Italian, but all I can tell is that she loved how I looked. Like, she was saying whatever she was saying, and she was like, mwah, mwah, and I was like, thank you. Like, mind you, this little girl is like maybe 5 or 6, and I'm just like, and her mom was like, she thinks you're really pretty. Mind you, this little girl was going on a rant about how nice I looked, and her mom was just like, she thinks you're really pretty. And I was like, thank you. So I go and I start talking, like after I pee or whatever, I come out and I'm like, I'm not gonna give up this easily. Like, there have to be some like clubs or something, like every place has clubs. So I go up to the host that I originally asked, like, can I use your restroom or whatever? And I was like, let me ask you something. He was like, what's up? And I said, do y'all have any like clubs around here? Or no. What, the way I asked him, I was like, where do y'all go dancing around here? Like, where do y'all go to dance? And he was like, oh, like a club? And I was like, yeah, like, but an actual club, like where people dance. Cause like some of these places they're advertising as clubs, like on this street, but I'm seeing that they're all bars. Where are like the actual clubs? So he put something in my phone, and it's like a little area, and he was like, it's not too far from here, it's about like 12 minutes, like a 12-minute walk, and it's like an area that has like a bunch of clubs in the area or whatever. I was like, okay, cool, thank you. And he's like, no problem. So he like puts it in my Apple Maps or whatever, and I walk out headed to go to those clubs that he put in my phone. So I'm walking, and as I'm walking there, I see like another bar or whatever, and I was like, let me stop and get me another drink. So I go into that bar, I get me a Hugo Spritz or whatever, and I drink, and I'm just sitting on the ledge. And like this bar is like on an incline, because like Rome has a bunch of like hills and shit. And so the bars that were on the strip were on like a lower level, and I had to walk up an incline. And so the bar that I stopped at to get a Hugo was like on an incline, and it had a ledge that you could sit on and just basically overlook all of the other bars. So I'm just like sitting there and drinking, and I'm just like, I really hope this night turns out to be fun, because it's like, I'm telling this like a little bit faster, but like this all happened over the course of like, I want to say like a good hour, hour and a half. Like it was a while, right? And I was not having a blast. And so I was like, oh, I hope this doesn't end up like how it was when I went to go clubbing in Japan, and I went to like the most popular like black club in Tokyo, and it was boring as the fuck, like to the point where like the entire bar staff were black people, and they just kept, I was the only black person in there, and they kept coming up to me and apologizing for how boring it was, and they kept like sending me free drinks and shit because they wanted me to stay there. Because they were just like, they were so embarrassed by how dead it was, and they were like, we promise like it's usually really good, especially because I went on like an R&B night, so I was expecting like a lot to be going on, and it was just like me and then like some Japanese people and a random white man doing like a, I guess like a work outing that night. And like it was just like they were fucking breakdancing in the middle of the dance floor to fucking Mary J. Blige, and like not even like, you know, not even Family Affair. It was Not Gonna Cry, and they're fucking breakdancing. Like, there's no fucking way. There is no fucking way. And they just kept sending me drinks for free, and they were just like, we're so sorry. Like, and so I'm like, oh, I hope it's not another repeat of that. So I'm like, you know, after I finish my Hugo, I go use the restroom in that bar, and then I keep walking to the area that the guy put into my phone. So I get to the area, and it's like a bunch of restaurants or whatever. And so this one mixed guy, he comes up to me and he starts speaking to me in Italian. And like, that's the thing. A lot of them, like, I don't say it at the beginning, but a lot of them are speaking to me in either Italian or French at first. They like, none of them even suspected that I was American and that I only spoke English. And so that's why I was like, I need to learn French, so like I can actually not claim America anymore, because nobody even suspected that I was American until I opened my mouth and spoke. So I'm walking past, I see this mixed guy. He's a host for a restaurant, and he said something to me in Italian, and I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know Italian. He was like, oh, okay, I know English. And he was like, he obviously grew up in Italy because he had an Italian accent when he was speaking English, but he said his mom was actually from LA and then moved to Italy and met his dad and all that shit, right? So I don't know why he was telling me his whole life story, girl. One thing about it, I don't know if it's because I'm a foreigner or because I just give off that energy of like, you could tell me anything, but like so many people were telling me their life stories, like it was nuts. But anyway, so he like, you know, is complimenting me and everything. And I was like, oh, thanks. Like, you know, I just want food. Cause at that point I was like, I should eat, like, let me eat again. Cause that fish didn't do much of anything. So he's like, okay, yeah, like go ahead, go eat, da da da. And so I go sit down, I give me some carbonara. Carbonara was garbage, okay? Fucking trash. It was disgusting. It was so salty. And I had had so many good carbonaras in Italy up until that point that I knew that it wasn't a good carbonara, and that's not how it was supposed to taste, right? I literally even had carbonara earlier that day after I left the Sistine Chapel, after I left Vatican. So it was just like, no, it's not supposed to taste like this. So after I get done eating or whatever, I'm like about to walk out of the restaurant, and the host was like, oh, did you like our food? And I was like, the carbonara was a little too salty for me. And he was like, let me tell you something. Where did you have carbonara before? That's how carbonara is supposed to taste. You're in Rome, babe. You're at the capital of carbonara. That's where, that if you're not supposed to get carbonara nowhere else, you're supposed to get it from Rome. And I was like, I've had carbonara in Rome, and it was delicious. The carbonara that y'all selling is salty as shit. And he was like, well, yeah, because it's pork. And I was like, yeah, the carbonara I had earlier today had pork in it, and it wasn't as salty as y'all's. Like, because the thing is, if you're going to use pork to cook anything, then you really need to be very, very, very light-handed with the salt, because pork is already salty as a motherfuck. You do not need to add, you know, like a whole big ass pinch of salt to something that's like salting your fucking pork chops with a heavy hand. You're not supposed to do it, right? Or putting salt on bacon. You're not supposed to do it. So I was like, it was salty. I'm so sorry. Like, I don't know what to tell you. The carbonara was trash. And so he's like, oh, like you, and he was like, you're just being like hard on it. And I was like, no, it was just nasty. I'm so sorry. I don't know what to tell you. And so he's like, well, you know, why don't you stay? Like, you know, we can. I was like, no, I'm looking for a club. And at that point I had found a club called Claro. I remembered that name. Look at me, I remembered something. But I found a club called Claro that was like right around the corner or whatever. So I was like, no, I can't. Like, I'm about to go like to the club or whatever. But like, you know, it was nice meeting you. He's like, it was nice meeting you too. That was something that the mixed guy said. Let's rewind it. When I told the mixed guy that I was trying to eat, when I first walked up there, he was like, I was like, yeah, no, I'm trying to get something to eat. And he's like, oh, okay, well, like, you know, I hope you know that like I can't eat with you. And I was like, I was like, that's fine. And he's like, oh, you said fuck me, you don't care if I can't eat with you. And I said, I just met you. Like, what the fuck? Why would I want you? Why would I want? And like the way that he said it, like it was supposed to be just like this big, disappointing, heart-wrenching news. Like, nigga, I know you can't eat with me. You want a club. So after I'm leaving the bar, after I'm leaving that restaurant or whatever, I'm walking towards the club, and he was like, there was another white guy standing outside of a bar, like a little further down across the street, or across like the piazza. And he was like, he had asked me like, you know, where are you going? I told him the club, and he's like, oh, well, why don't you come in here? Like, we're playing music here. And mind you, it was a fucking sports bar. I'm not going to a sports bar. And so I was like, no, I'm good. He was like, well, what club are you going to? Oh, I know he had to be like British or Irish, because he was like, I was like, where do you usually go? You know, I'm just open to any clubs or whatever. And he was like, oh, I go to like this Irish pub down the way. Like, I love Irish music and like da da da. And I was like, oh no, I'm not down for that. And he was like, okay, well, like, you know, if you just come into the bar, and like you could wait till I get off, and then like you and I can. No. I said, oh, you have a good night. You have a good night, sir. So I keep walking, and I end up in front of Claro. So I'm standing in line at Claro, and I'm just like, you know, hoping that the music is good inside. The line is long, and when I'm walking up, I end up next to these two Asian boys, right? I'm standing in line, just minding my business, and I hear one of the guys tell the other guy, dude, if we have to wait any longer, we might as well just go back home and watch scary movies all night, because like I don't want to wait in this long line. And so like my ears perked up, because I'm like, well, damn, how long they been waiting here if they complain about how long the line is. So I turn and I'm like, wait, how long have y'all been here? And they're like, oh, no, like, we've only been here 10 minutes. And I was like, oh, y'all had me worried. I thought I was gonna be in this line for like a good 45 minutes. They were like, no, we've only been here 10 minutes. And like, the line's been moving and everything. I'm just being dramatic. And I was like, oh, okay. So we start having like a little conversation, a little like, you know, banter or whatever. And it's like, we would talk sometimes, and then like we would like get quiet, and I would get on my phone or whatever, and then we would talk some more, and then get on my phone, and like it was that type of thing, right? So at the same time that is going on, I see a group of 3 people walking up. It's a white girl, a black girl, and then a guy. I honestly have no clue what he was, but he I was about to say something. He was very LGBTQ, you know, so I thought he not me said no, okay, but no, he gave very much gay, okay? So, and this coming from somebody who is pan, so I like thought he was gay, especially because like you usually don't see a guy that like only hangs out with girls and like usually goes all out for Halloween and everything, and he's not just straight up gay. So I'm like standing there, and I'm just like in the line, and I hear I hear the three people on this side of me talking, and I keep like looking over at them because like the two girls are so pretty. So I just keep like looking over at them because I'm like, oh my god, they are so pretty, right? And I hear the guide say something about like a different club that they could go to, and the black girl goes like, well, you know, how far is that, like, you know, what, how would we get there? And the guy was like, oh, we could get on the bus. And she said, the bus? And I like, every time I would look over, me and the white girl would like make eye contact. So like when the black girl said the bus, I literally like giggled to myself. And I like heard the French girl, she was French, like spoiler, she told me later on she was French, but I heard the French girl laughing. And so like I like looked up and we were making eye contact, and she was just like, and I was like, can I join y'all's group? Like, I'm here by myself, and like, you know, I don't really have anybody to hang out with, and like I don't want to be in the club by myself. And they were like, absolutely. And so I end up bringing the two Asian guys into the group as well. So now we have like this big group of 6. And so we're all just talking and everything, getting to know each other. I find out that these people are fucking freshmen in college. I'm like, oh, I'm like 9 years older than y'all. Oh, so I'm just like, oh, okay. And I find out one of the guys on this end of me is from Miami. I find out the white girl is from France. And then I find out the black girl is actually from New York City. So I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. So, and I think actually one of the other Asian guys, he was from New York. So they were both from New York. They had just never met before. And then the other Asian guy was from Miami. I remember they were all just like talking and everything. I found out that these two guys were foreign exchange students, while the people on this side of me actually went to the University of Rome. So they all went to the same university, but these guys, I guess we'll call one of the guys Sean. Yeah, let's just call him Sean. The one who I asked, like, how long have y'all been in line? That's Sean. We'll call the black girl Vanessa. If I use that in another story time, obviously not the same people. We'll call the black girl Vanessa. And then I think those are the only people that need names. If y'all hear Bailey, no, y'all don't. And then we'll call the white girl Frenchie. If you've ever watched The Boys, Frenchie, yeah. So you are very disruptive. You want to sit on my lap? Or you want to sit there? I found out that Sean and his friend are doing a study abroad program at the University of Rome. Their school had like obviously a hookup with the University of Rome, so they decided to do their very first semester of college in Rome for like a study abroad program, which I think is like really fucking cool. I wish I would have done a study abroad program, but like I just knew I did not have the money for that, and my mom was not going to send me the money for that. So, and then Vanessa, she decided to like actually attend the University of Rome. So it wasn't a study abroad program. She actually like applied to the University of Rome, got in, and moved from New York City to Rome, which I also think is really, really, really fucking cool. Like these people are so cool. Like I was like, oh my God, y'all are so much cooler than me. I want to be like y'all when I grow up. Like what? So I'm just like talking to them or whatever, and the line is moving. And while the line is moving and we're all just like talking, I see 2 girls, a white girl and an Asian girl. I guess the white girl, we'll call her Wendy. Sure. So, because she'll come back into play. So they actually ended up knowing Vanessa. Vanessa knew everybody. Like anybody who was around their age group that was walking by was like hugging her, saying hey to her and everything. And Vanessa like vaguely knew these 2 girls. She vaguely knew Wendy and Wendy's friend. So they ended up joining our group as well. And they were a little bit ahead of us in line. So they let us like kind of join them in line. And they were like, they told us like, you know, they're letting people in batches. So we'll just let Frenchie and Darian, me, go with us because like they don't really know anybody, and we'll also get Vanessa, and then like the guys can come in afterwards. So we were doing that. They let us in batches. All the girls went first, and then like about 5 to 10 minutes later the guys came in afterwards. So we go in, we pay to get in or whatever, and I check my code in and everything, and we go into the club. The club was playing some good music, I'm not gonna lie, and it was packed in there. It was so packed in there, And we're just like, listening to music. They're playing like the oldies, like one of the main things I can remember is that they played New York. And so, of course, Sean's friend, who was from New York, and then Vanessa were like screaming to the top of their lungs. And I remember I was like also singing it, and so was Sean. And so, like, we had like a little circle. We had a little circle, and like our arms were around each other. We were just like screaming it to the top of our lungs together. And I remember there was like one point where I forgot what song came on, but it was a song where like you could throw ass to it. So I was throwing ass to it. And while I'm just like having fun, I feel somebody behind me. Yo, why is Sean anybody ass behind me? I turn around, I'm like, oh, excuse you. And so I was like, and I like scoot back over, and I was like, I'm gonna go get me a drink. I'm gonna go get me a shot, like as an excuse to kind of like move around from Sean, right? So I go and get me a drink, especially because I could tell that Vanessa liked Sean. Like at the very least, she had an attraction to Sean, and she was like trying to like, do like mac on him or whatever. And so it was just like, I don't want to like get in between that, especially because you are 10 years younger than me. There is nothing you got that I want. Like, please move around. And like, I think it's because I have such like a younger face. They all thought that I was like 19, 20. And it was like, I am almost 30. Like, no. So I like go get me another drink or whatever. I come back and like we're all just like dancing, talking, and just having a good time. And I end up having to use the restroom, and so they all end up like following me. Like Frenchie follows me, Vanessa, and then Wendy and her friend, they all follow me. So I go use the restroom. Wendy and her friend use the restroom after me, and then after that, I go to the bar to get me a drink or whatever. And when I go back to the area where they're supposed to be at, all I see are Wendy and her friend. And Wendy is with the guy who I thought was gay, but they're like making out. And I was like, oh, oh, he's the bacon in the community. Okay, all right, I get it. That's what I get. That's what I get for assuming. So Sean is also like there with his friend, and then Wendy's friend asked me like, hey, do you know where Vanessa and Frenchie went? Like, I can't find them. I'm like looking for them, da da da. And I was like, oh, like last time I checked, they were in the restroom. If they're not in the restroom, I have no clue where they are. And so she was like, oh, okay, well, like let me know like when you find them or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. So I just keep dancing. I'm like going to the bar every now and again. So I had to get some water. Well, I got water once because they also make you pay for water in Italy. So like at the bars here in America, if they tell me that I need to pay for water, I'm clutching my fucking pearls and I'm calling the health department, because what do you mean you can't just give me some tap? Like, what do you mean I'm having to pay for water at a bar? You want me to get fucking alcohol poisoning, you fucking bitch? I will set this shit on fire. Give me some water for free. Thank you. But in Italy, I'm like, obviously I'm not going to do all that. So I'm just like, I have to pay for this fucking bottle of water. And after I like paid for the water, I think I started like walking, like just basically doing a lap around like the club to see how it was all going. And I end up seeing Vanessa and Frenchie in a random ass section. And they were just like, Vanessa was like, oh, come. And so I'm like, oh, okay. So I sit down. Vanessa is taking Frenchie a bunch of pictures and everything. Frenchie was bad. Okay, she was a bad little French girl. And so we're just like talking or whatever. And I understand like why Vanessa had to sit down, because she had these big ass like platform heels. I guess she was supposed to be maybe strawberry shortcake, I'm guessing. And so like cause she was also bad as fuck. And she had these big ass platform heels. And like, when you're 18, you don't like really understand how to walk in heels just yet. You don't understand that like you have to make sure that you have some heels that you can walk in for a long time. Either that, or like once you get older, your feet kind of like build up like some sort of, not callousness to it, but like I think, Bailey, you are making a lot of noise. I told you to sit there and be quiet. I'm finna make you go home. When heels kind of start hurting your feet just kind of like go numb. And like, you know, they'll start like buzzing after a while, but they don't hurt to the point where it's like, but they don't hurt to the point where like you have to take your shoes off. At least not for me. Like, and I wear I wear heels a lot. And like once you break them in, it'll hurt still, but like it'll hurt to the point where like I can bear it, but once I take my shoes off, that's it. I like it's like breaking the seal. Once you take your heels off once, that's it. Now you feel like you got to take your heels off every single time you want some comfort for the rest of the night. So she was like, but since she's such a baby, she's not used to heels like just walking in them and walking on cobblestone in them and everything, because I also had heels and I was just walking like normal, you know what I mean? Like it was just, and like they weren't even like chunky heels, like they were stiletto. No, they were boots. Those boots, bitch, oh my god, those boots fucking hurt my feet. But like I was just walking because, you know, but she's not used to it yet, so she's like, you know, barefoot in the section trying to get some breather, right? So we're just like in there talking or whatever, and some guys come and they end up like kicking us out of the section. I was just like, okay, you know, cool, whatever. But yeah, so after we got kicked out of the section, I had walked up, I saw Wendy's friend or whatever, and so I walked up to her and I was like, oh hey, I found Vanessa and Frenchie, they're like over there, we were just sitting in the section, da da da. Tell me about this girl. Looked at me and she was like, okay. Girl, you fucking asked me. You asked me to tell you when I saw them. And then Wendy's friend asked me like, hey, do you know where Vanessa and Frenchie went? Like, I can't find them. You know, I'm like looking for them, da da da. And I was like, oh, like last time I checked, they were in the restroom. If they're not in the restroom, I have no clue where they are. And so she's like, oh, okay, well, like, let me know like when you find them or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. I saw them and I told you, and now you treating me like I'm the fucking weirdo that's overly concerned about something. Like, you asked me. I was like, okay. After that, I was just like, all right, bro. And I walked off, right? So we go back over to like where Sean and his friend are, and we're just like, you know, talking some more and dancing some more and everything. And like, Sean kept getting behind me trying to like catch ass. And I'm like, sir, no, especially because Vanessa had a whole lot more ass than I did. Baby, go catch some from her. Leave me alone. Like she wants you, okay? No. I have baby siblings who I dressed, who I bathed, whose diapers I changed, that are older than you. No. Get away from me. So I'm just like, okay, like, all right. So afterwards, we decide that we're gonna like leave or whatever, go to a different club. So we leave, and like as we're walking out, Wendy and the bi guy, they're like holding hands and like, you know, just like whispering sweet nothings. And I'm like, damn, that like, this is what happens when you give 18-year-olds liquor, because like, what do you mean y'all are in love after like an hour and a half in a club? Like, that is crazy. So after that, we're like walking out, and Sean is like so mad to the point where like he doesn't even acknowledge us when we're walking out. He literally just keeps walking. Like, he don't even say bye. Him and his friend just like walk and like I'm guessing just go home after I kept like turning him down and like moving him from behind me and shit. And like I remember at one point he had like asked me like, you know, if he could have my number, and I was just like, no. No, I'm sorry. Because it was just like, I mean, like, you're cool, but like you are like a little baby, like, no. And so I also, it's such a mind fuck that I'm damn near a decade older than like the most recently graduated. Like, call me the fucking crypt creeper, bitch. Like, what is wrong with me? But anyway, so I'm like, we're all just like standing outside, standing around. They're talking about like what club they want to go to next. I'm looking at the time, and it is like 1 a.m, almost 2 a.m. And I was like, this is around the time that like I would be going home in Houston, because I rarely go to after hours in Houston. I feel like a lot of times they're just like not worth it. Like, I know a lot of the after hours that people like Double Apple. Double apple, there's literally nowhere to stand unless you have a fucking section, and then they put your alcohol in a fucking water bottle. I'm not doing that. And then 2727 is like cool. It's a very like hood place, but like it's cool. But like for the most part, I don't really go to after hours. There's an after hours in like my area of the city, and I gotta tell y'all about that time that we went there. But like there's an after hours in my area of the city that I do really like, because a lot of the after hours here in Houston are very like section centered, and the after hours that's in my area of the city isn't very section centered. Like they have a really humongous dance floor, and so I love that. But anyway, I say all that to say I don't usually stay out past 2:30 unless I'm getting food after the club. So, and like all the clubs here in Houston close at 2. So I was just like, oh, okay, this is around the time that I'd be getting home. But like, I'm down for whatever. I said I was gonna have me a good Halloween night. I'm having me a blast. Like, I'm gonna just keep being out or whatever, right? So I remember we were like standing around outside trying to figure out where we were going next. And Vanessa said, like, if it's too far, then like I'll just pay for the Uber for everybody. And I was like, you ain't gotta ask me twice. You ain't gotta tell me twice. I'm not gonna offer up my money. If you want to pay for it, you got it. Because if I pay for it, I'm paying for it to take my black ass back to the hotel, back to the hotizzy. Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. So we're just like figuring out something, and they found some bar that was like, or some club that was like around the corner, right? And I was like, okay, like we could go there or whatever. So we start walking, and everybody's like walking kind of ahead of me and Vanessa, and I'm like staying behind because I don't want Vanessa to have to like walk alone without everybody else, because she's like having to walk slower, mainly because she doesn't want to walk blah. She doesn't want to walk on the cobblestone in her socks, but like she needs to take her shoes off. So she's walking really slow until she gets to the sidewalk so that she can take her shoes off and walk in the knee-high socks that she has. So we're like walking or whatever, and we're just like talking. She and I are just like, getting to know each other or whatever. And I was like, she was like, how old are you? And I did that old nigga thing that everybody I did that old nigga thing that every old nigga be doing. I was like, how old do you think I am? Like, how old do I look? And she was like, I don't know, like 19, 20, like 21 at the most. And I was like, oh no, girl, I'm 27. She was like, you're 27? And I was like, yeah, I'm 27. And she was like, you look so good for 27. I'm 27. Not 67. I'm 27. I would hope that I look good. Like, what are we talking about here? I don't have kids. I'm not struggling financially. I would hope that I look good. I would hope that stress is not whooping my ass. I'm only 27. Like, oh my God. It's like everybody forgets that 27 is still 20. It's still the 20s, baby. I'm still, like, of course I look fucking good. I hate when people say that. Oh my God. You look good for 27. I would hope so. Like, what the fuck? And so I was just like, yeah. Yeah. How old are you? She's like, oh, I'm 18. I was like, oh, y'all are, oh. Oh, I just want to pinch your cheeks. Like, oh. And I was like, well, how are you enjoying Rome and everything? She was like, girl, it's so good. And she was like, and the men here, they fucking love us, girl. Like, it is crazy. And I was like, tell me about it. We're just talking and everything. And we get to this club, and I'm guessing that's the Irish club that the guy was talking to me about, because it was an Irish pub, but we go in and they're playing like Nirvana. And I was like, oh, they should play Creep. And she was like, by Radiohead? And I was like, yeah. She was like, imagine a club playing Radiohead. And I'm like, imagine a club playing fucking Nirvana. Like, it's a club, okay? Like, they can play whatever the fuck they want to play. So we're like walking in, seeing what everything is about, and it is packed. It is packed to the fucking brim. And it's like to the point where like we're walking and Vanessa is like bulldozing through everybody, but only for herself. And so like me and her are getting through, but then like the rest of the friend group are like kind of getting separated from us, because like people are like getting pushed out of the way by Vanessa, and then like immediately coming back together as soon as me and her walk through. And so at some point I had turned back around and I saw that like Frenchie and Wendy and Frenchie, Wendy's friend, and then the gay guy or the bi guy, they weren't there anymore. And so like I'm looking, I see them like 3 heads behind me, and I was like, oh, hold on, Vanessa. And I turn back around and I grab, like I reach my hand out, and Frenchie grabs my hand, and I literally start pulling her through, and I started like literally elbowing everybody out of the way. And she was like, thank you so much. And I was like, girl, don't worry about it. Like, we have to do this in fucking Houston all the time. Like, you just have to get used to it. If you're in a club, you have to expect that somebody's gonna push you over. Not push you over, but like push you out of the way or move you out of the way, because if it's a packed club, somebody, like, people are always going to be moving. And like this is coming from somebody who gets irritated when people are walking around me too much. I try to go somewhere where like nobody can push me around or like move me around. But like if you're in a really packed club, you just gotta have to accept that like people are gonna be like pushing you out of the way all the time, right? So I was like, girl, don't even worry about it. And so like this part of the club was, not only was it rock music and they were playing rock music in the club and I didn't want to fucking hear that, but like it was also a thing of like they were doing karaoke night on Halloween. Why are you doing karaoke night on Halloween? That's something that you do on like a Monday night when it's like your regular crowd. Why are you doing karaoke night on Halloween? Like that don't make, like none of that makes sense. So after that I was like, I'm gonna go, y'all. And they were like, oh, okay, like, be safe. Like, it was good knowing you. And then like me and Vanessa added each other on Instagram and everything, and I left. So that was that night. Everything else, like the photo shoot happened, me running to that guy at the park, all of that happened, and then it was time for me to go to Naples. By this point, one of my friends, she had FaceTime me, and she was like drunk with another one of her friends, and she was like, I can't wait till you get back. And I was like, girl, I can't wait till I get back either. Like, I'm so ready to go back home. And like, it was one of those things where like my cat really is my emotional support animal, because as soon as I started experiencing inconveniences, all I wanted to do was just be back home on the couch with her and like just, be in my own home, be in my own place with my own furniture and like my closet, like not having to move all my shit around in this fucking suitcase, right? I'm like, I'm already just not really feeling going to Naples, but I had a horseback riding tour of Pompeii. So I was going to like tour Pompeii on foot, and then I was supposed to ride on horseback on Mount Vesuvius to somebody's like, to the host's villa. There was a villa at like the top of Mount Vesuvius, and that's where they were going to cook like a traditional Italian dinner for us. So I was like really excited for that. So that's, I decided to just continue trekking on and go to Naples. I get on the train to Naples, and it's a pretty good time, or not a good time, but like it's a easy time or whatever. And I think it was only like an hour and a half or something of a ride from Rome. When I get off, number one, Naples is filthy. Number two, Naples has a lot of cobblestone, even more cobblestone than a lot of the other places. And the suitcase that I had at that point was big, and it was leaning. Like the wheels were starting to pop off and everything, or like not pop off, but they started like, you could tell that in some areas where the wheels were that connected to the suitcase, it was coming off a little bit. So I was being delicate with my suitcase because I only had a few more days. I literally only had 3 more days. 3 more days. Where like that day when I got to Naples, the day of me being in Naples to go to Pompeii, and then the day that I left Naples to go back to Milan and stay at that airport until I left. Right? Until I left to go to the airport and leave and everything, right? I just had a few more days, and I just wanted my suitcase to like thug it out for a few more days before I got back to the States. I'm being very delicate with it, very delicate. And I get me an Uber to take me to my Airbnb, as I do. Or not my Airbnb, my hotel, as I do. And I'm standing on the side of the street waiting for my Uber to come, and I'm standing like where the taxis are. And I see the Uber across the street because he's coming from this way, right? So he's driving this way, And I'm waiting for him to loop back around because it's a roundabout at the end of the street. Loop back around and come over to my side of the street and pick me up. So I'm standing there, and I get a message. And he asks me, "Can you come across the street?" No, I cannot come across the street. I don't want to come across the street. Number one, I have this big ass suitcase that I'm having to be very gentle with. I can't go across the cobblestone street. And number two, a fuck ton of traffic. That traffic was never ending of just cars speeding by. No, I'm not coming across the street. You come on this side of the street. I tell him, no, I can't. Can you come on this side of the street where I'm at? I'm standing, like, at this point I can see him, but he's across like 4 lanes basically, because it's 2 lanes going this way and then 2 lanes going that way, like going that way, right? So I'm like, no, can you come on this side of the street? He comes over to my side of the street and he was like, "Oh, do you need help with your luggage?" And I said, "Yeah." Mind you, he walked. He grabs my suitcase and literally starts dragging it. He starts dragging it across the cobblestone to his car. Guess what happens? One of my wheels pops off. And you can see the inner lining of my suitcase. Oh, I was so fucking angry. I was so angry. I got into the Uber. And he's just talking to me, like nothing happened. Like he didn't just break my fucking suitcase. And he was like, "Sorry, there's a war going on between the Ubers and the taxi drivers. And so I couldn't come over to the side of the street that you were on because of the taxi drivers." Quite frankly, I really wish he would have just told me that and I would have got one of these taxi drivers to take me. Because, like, I genuinely don't give a fuck. You just broke my $80 suitcase. And, like, I know, like, that's cheap for a suitcase. It's still $80 fucking dollars that I had to replace. Respectfully, fuck your little war. I'm pissed off. You just broke my fucking suitcase. And so, literally, I didn't even say shit. Like, when he told me, I was just like, "Oh, okay." And I stayed silent the entire fucking ride. I was so angry. So that was strike one. On top of all the other shit of me just already wanting to go. So I get to my bed and breakfast and I'm like, okay, at least I'm here. There's an elevator. Cool. The man like comes up or whatever, the host, because I'm sitting outside of the building. So I'm on the first floor sitting in the courtyard. He comes and he tells me, "Actually, your bed and breakfast is across the street." Of course it's across the street. He tells me, "Your building is across the street. We own multiple buildings in this area. Your building where your room is across the street." Cool. So I'm like, okay, well, I can't like, I can't do anything with this suitcase. Like, you might have to carry it. I don't know, but I cannot do that. And so he was like, "Okay, that's fine. Like, I'll do it or whatever." This man is sagging while trying to carry my 80-pound suitcase across the street. He's sweating, his pants is falling to his knees. He is like having the worst time of his life, and ditto, you know? So we get there, and of course, in good old Italian fashion, we still have to go up a few steps before we get to the fucking elevator. We get to the elevator. Guess what? We have to pay money to use the fucking elevator. We have to pay money to use the fucking elevator. We have to pay money to use the fucking elevator. And my hotel, my room was on the 5th fucking floor of this building, which means technically it was on the 6th, because remember what I told you in the last story time, their floors start on the 2nd floor. And you have to pay money to use the goddamn elevator. So they give me 2 coins for the 2 days that I was there. I'm like, okay, cool. So any other time I had to go, I was having to run up 6 flights of stairs. Yeah. So we get there and I'm checking in and everything, and I'm just like trying to keep a level headed about me, keep a level head about me and everything. And I'm already just really, really, really fucking annoyed, really irritated, really over it all. So I go into my room finally to see that my room is absolutely fucking filthy. It is filthy in there. It's old. The floors are so old that they creak. You can see that there's dust on it and dirt. I feel just so disgusted. I don't even want to put my face on the fucking pillowcases. It was so dirty. I will never stay in a fucking bed and breakfast again. If I can't afford to stay in an actual hotel, I'm not going. Because what do you mean it's this fucking dirty in here, bro? Like it was one of those things where like I don't even feel comfortable standing in the shower without shower shoes on. It was that fucking dirty. So I'm just keeping a level head about me. Keeping a level head. And I'm like venting to my mom about it. And I'm like, yeah, the fucking Uber, he broke my suitcase. And she was like, fucking shit, what is it with these Ubers? Because what I didn't tell y'all also, when I was in Rome, let's rewind. When I was in Rome, I had a cooking class my last night. I was taking an Uber to the cooking class. Why did my Uber, it took me 8 attempts to get a fucking Uber. At that point, I would have gotten a bus, but the bus would have like undeniably made me at least 30 minutes late to the fucking cooking class. Uber after Uber after Uber after Uber was either canceling, not moving, going in the wrong direction. Over and over and over again. 8 attempts it took me to get to the fucking cooking class, and I still missed it because I got there 15 fucking minutes late. So it was like, I'm so fucking over this place. I'm so over this place. Like I just wasted, like that was one of the things that I was looking forward to so much was the fucking cooking class. I was looking so forward to the fucking cooking class, and I couldn't even make it because 8 attempts it took me to get a fucking Uber to a cooking class. A cooking class. 8 attempts to take me 15 minutes up the fucking road. And they don't even get paid when I cancel it because I tell Uber straight up, these motherfuckers are not moving. So I already was like irritated with that, on top of the Florence shit, on top of me being on my period, on top of me having a cold. And then I get to Naples and this man breaks the fucking wheel off of my suitcase. So now I have to buy 2 new suitcases because I can't carry that. Then I get to the bed and breakfast and I have to pay money to use the fucking elevator or climb 6 flights of stairs. And then I get into my room and I just want to relax, and I can't relax because my room is fucking filthy. And I'm like literally this close to losing my shit, y'all. Like I'm this close to losing my shit. This close. What was the last straw? You're probably asking. The last straw was when I'm sitting in bed and I'm telling my mom about all of it. And my mom is like, what the fuck is wrong with these Ubers? Like, what is their problem? Da da da. And I'm just like venting to her about it. I get a message. And like, my spirits are kind of lifted a little bit because me and the host were talking and he was like, oh, I have to send you some of my favorite restaurants here in Naples. And like one of my friends, he is DJing at this club. If you want to come with me to like, you know, if you want to come with me to the club, and you can see like what it's like partying and like in a Naples club and like da 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 da, right? So I'm like, okay, spirits are looking up, whatever. The only issue is that he knows where I lay my head, so rain check. And then I get a message and it says, we will have to cancel tomorrow's tour of Pompeii and horseback riding excursion because you are the only person that booked. So you can either choose to go tomorrow, or you can find somebody to sign up with you, or else we will have to cancel your trip. We will send you your money back. And I tell y'all, if it wasn't a Tuesday, and if my mom hadn't had work on Tuesday and wasn't able to pick me up, I would have rescheduled my flight to leave that fucking day and immediately took all of my shit and left back to Milan and flew out. When I got that message, I said, yeah, I'm going home. I'm going home. I'm going home. So I messaged her back and I was like, no, like it's just me here, so I won't be able to have anybody else come with me, and I'm leaving out tomorrow. Can you, cuz like the day that she was trying to get me to do it wasn't she was trying to get me to do it the day after I was supposed to do it, and that was the day that I was supposed to get on a train and go back to Milan to check into my hotel there before going to the airport the next day. So I was just like, I'm leaving that day, like I can or whatever. So I was just like, yeah, I'm leaving tomorrow. As in, like, I was going to get on a train, go back to Naples, and move my flight up one day. So I do exactly that. My mom is radio silent. She doesn't hear from me for like a good hour. And then I text her, I like message her on WhatsApp and I'm like, hey, so if I fly in on Wednesday instead of Thursday, would you be able to pick me up at this time? She said, yeah. I said, okay, cool, thank you. And so I sent her my flight information, and that was that. Like, y'all, literally after that, I asked the host, like, hey, do you know some like suitcase stores around here? He never sent me any, but thankfully, when I was walking, I found like a store off, like, on the side of the street that sold suitcases. So I went in there, got me two matching pink suitcases for $70. Thank God. Took them back to my hotel. Mind you, this was also the thing that turned me off about Naples, and I don't think I could ever do Naples in the dark if I were to go back, because all you see is just how fucking dirty it is. Like, I'm talking like there are street corners with just piles of garbage for days. Piles of garbage. It's like one person decided to just go and throw their garbage bag out there, and everybody else followed suit, and like nobody realized that the garbage man wasn't gonna come and pick it up, and they just fucking left it there. Like, it was disgusting. It was so fucking dirty there. And I'm like walking, I'm just like, ew, I'm in this fucking dirty ass city, in this dirty ass fucking air, in this dirty ass fucking B&B, and just pissed off, right? So I get back to my room, I move all of my shit into like the small suitcases, and I leave the big suitcase there because what else can I fucking do, right? So I move all of my little suitcases. I mean, I move all of my stuff into like the smaller suitcases, the new ones that I just got and everything. And I pay for an extra luggage. I do that. I go get me something to eat and everything. And the next day, I go to the laundromat to clean my airport clothes, like my airport sweats, because that's the only thing that I brought to wear to the airport or whatever, was what I wore to the airport to get to Italy. So I had to go wash that. I wanted to wash like my little carry-on bag that I had, my little duffel bag. I went to the laundromat, washed it, helped the lady that was in the laundromat, because I guess in Italy everybody just drops their clothes off to the laundromat, and there's somebody that works at the laundromat and they'll just clean your clothes for you, and you pay them like a few quarters or whatever, or a few euros. So I was in there helping her fold clothes and shit. I don't know why I'm just over here like building a fucking community in Italy. And so I'm over here helping this lady fold people's quilts and shit so she's not getting it on the floor. And like I go to a cafe. I'm just like, Naples is very pretty in the daytime, so I'm happy that I did go out and see more of it. I saw like their Duomo and everything. Very gorgeous. There's blew Florence out of the water. Florence was so fucking boring. Like their Duomo was so bland on the inside. It's like they spent so much time on the outside just for the inside to be like a dud and a half. And I got pizza from Naples. Delicious. Delicious, by the way. Best pizza I've ever had in my life. And I'm not exaggerating. Y'all know I would tell y'all if that shit was nasty. That was so fucking good. It was so good. That pizza was so fucking good. And then after that, oh, and I forgot to tell y'all that night when I went to sleep, because I did have to sleep for one night in the bed and breakfast hotel room. There was this couple that came in. Mind you, when I was leaving out one of the times, I saw a family that was sleeping in one of the rooms, because it was like a lobby and then there were like 4 rooms off of it. There was a family of 4. The kids were like 6 and 7 years old, and then the parents, right? So at night, I'm laying in bed, I'm like, you know, knocked out, and I hear a noise. I hear somebody come in, and they come in loud as fuck. My room is right next to the door, so they come in, like right next to the door of the lobby. They come in and slam the door on the fucking wall, and it like jolts me awake. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I heard the guy like be like, you know, what's wrong with you? And she would just started laughing, and she was like, and I'm like, what the fuck? And they go into the room and they start having sex, and this girl is like screaming her fucking head off. Screaming her head off. It's 4 in the morning. It's 4 in the morning. There are children in the room next to you. Fuck that. There are people who paid money to sleep here, and you're in that room screaming. I know it can't be that good. I know it can't. I know it can't. And you're screaming. It took everything out of me to not get up out of the bed and go to their room and bang on the fucking door. And then later on in that morning, I think it was like an hour later at 5 in the morning, their friend comes back to the room or whatever, and he's locked outside of the door, and so he just starts ringing the bell for the next 30 minutes, and I'm not getting up because I don't fucking know who that is. I didn't realize it was their friend until the guy got up and came and opened the door, and he's like, oh shit, like my bad, like we fell asleep, da da da. If you can count on nothing else, you can count on white people being inconsiderate. But anyway, y'all, that was the story time. I literally, at that point, it was just like, I was so ready to go. I was so ready to get up out of there. And like, I'm happy that I did take that day before I got back on a train and took that 5-hour train ride back to Milan to like explore Naples, because Naples is a very pretty city in the daytime. I keep having to mention in the daytime, because in the nighttime it just kind of contrasts, or it just kind of highlights just how dirty it is. You know, when you don't have the view of the mountains or Mount Vesuvius behind you, or, you know, in the backdrop or whatever, all you can really focus on is the pile of garbage everywhere. The piles of garbage everywhere, the stench, you know, that's all you can really focus on, because there's nothing else to notice in the nighttime. But yeah, during the daytime, it was really pretty. It was really pretty. I would recommend it being maybe a day trip rather than like somewhere that you actually stay, unless you just want like a cheap Italy trip. If you want a cheap Italy trip, then yeah, you know, Naples is probably more your speed. But like, if you don't really care about saving money for real, there's no reason to actually ever stay in Naples for longer than like a day trip. Especially because it's only an hour ride from Rome. I did that when I went to fucking Switzerland from Milan. It was an hour train ride. So, but anyway, y'all, I will talk to y'all later. I hope you liked this story. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, sorry if my energy was a little low. It's just been a lot going on. And then sorry my hair is like this. Like I said, it's been a lot going on, and my hair usually takes a back seat whenever I have other shit going on in my life. So I haven't washed it in a minute. But yeah, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I can't wait for y'all to see what I have in store for myself, and consequentially for y'all in 2026 as far as content goes. So stay tuned for that. I will talk to y'all next time. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Peace. I gotta cool it down.